Hello everyone, and welcome to day 4 in my series of retired stamp sets. And today we're going to be featuring Sentimental Swirls, which was in the January catalog, January to June catalog. And I loved this is the particular stamp that really attracted me to it. I love that kind of swooshy, I just love it. Anyway, I just really love it. And so, I would feature this catalog. It's not retired yet, but it will be. So these are the 3 cards that we're going to be doing. And we're going to be stepping up each card. So the Stampin' Up! Does that in their catalog. They'll feature card samples in the catalog for different stamp sets, and in various places in the catalog it will say step it up, and they'll have one card that's a pretty simple card, and then the next one is a little stepped up, and then the third card is for more avid crafters that have more layers or more complicated technique. So that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to start with this card, then this will be the second one, and then this one will be the third one. So let's get started. So this one is made with Granny Apple Green, I should say. So we'll take out the pieces. You'll use a piece of 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Give it a burnish. Give it a nice crisp edge. And then we have 2 pieces of basic white cut at 5 1/4 by 4, one for the inside of the card. All right, so the stamps in this stamp set are photopolymer. That means that they're better stamped when they're on a Stampin' Pierce mat, because this is a foam mat, and you get a better image than the rubber stamps, which you can just stamp, right on a flat surface. So I use my Stampin' Pierce mat, but if you have a Stamparatus, for example, it does the same thing. Anything with a cushion. I mean, if you had a thick pad of paper, you could do the same thing. Just stamp it on top of a thick pad of paper. Just anything that will give it a little extra cushion will give you a better image. So because of the fact that the swirl image is kind of large, I'm going to, oops, I put it over here. I'm going to put it on the Stamparatus because I want to make sure, in case I don't get the color everywhere, I can just go back over it in exactly the same spot. Okay, I'm going to ink it up with my, move this up a little bit, with my Granny Apple Green. Oh, and I actually got pretty good color on it. So I'm just going to clean my stamp off. And I'm going to put that just back in the case. And the other stamp I want to get, and I'm going to just do this on, I'm going to move my Stamparatus over because I'm not going to need it right now. I'll just use my Stampin' pad, because I'm using the bird image. we go. And we'll just stamp the happy birthday image at the top. This is just some simple stamping, and it's great for beginners. It doesn't require a lot of supplies. You're just gonna, in this particular case, we're using all one color ink. Now I just happen to choose Granny Apple Green. You choose any color you want to, and if it's gonna just be one color, you can make your entire card with that one color. Okay, I'm gonna remove this, put it back in the case. And then the last step on this particular card will be just we'll attach some, oh wait, you know, let me just go ahead and adhere it to the card base. My adhesive that I prefer is the liquid glue, mainly because it gives me a little bit of forgiveness and wiggle room when I put it down. You can slide it a tiny bit before it actually adheres to the card. Okay. And then on the inside of the card, I had stamped the little bird, and I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay, I'm going to stamp off. And I'm going to adhere it to the inside of the card. Now this last step is completely optional. I decided to add a length of Granny Apple Green ribbon to it, but honestly, if you wanted just a purely clean card, this is a beautiful card even without any ribbon. But you could step it up a little bit, and all I did was wrap a length of ribbon around and tied a bow in the front. And make sure, you know, don't forget to stamp the inside of your card with whatever design you have on the outside, just to tie the two together. So very simple, right? This is a very simple card, meant really for beginners, but it could be for anybody if you're just looking for a simple and clean card. So I hope you like that one. Now we will do the next card. We'll do, this one is a little bit more stepped up because we're going to do some multicolor stamping. Let me grab my ink pads, some Stampin' blends. All right, so the colors I'm using for this card, I'm using Misty Moonlight card base. And I have my and this one is cut at 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. Oh, and I just want to say, as far as this card is concerned, because I wrote myself a note so I wouldn't forget, that I cased this card design from Joyce Whitman of StampinScrapper.com. So I want to give her a shout out because I loved the design and I want to give her the credit for the design, and that, so I cased it from her. Now I've also cut 2 pieces of basic white at 5 1/4 by 4. One for the inside and then one for the front card layer. this is also going to just be stamping and nothing but stamping. Okay, so I'll set this aside, but I'll put it right here where we can see it. I'm going to go back to my Stamparatus because I'm going to use that stamp again, and I want to make sure that I get a good adhesion. Here we go. Let me move this out of the way after all. Okay. Put magnets on it. And I'm going to place it, oh, this is one of the flowers. I'm going to place it, just kind of going in that direction, not up and down, but just a little to the side. All right, and I'm going to stamp that with Misty Moonlight ink, which is one of our retiring in colors. Okay. Clean that stamp off. All right, and the next one we're going to do again is the bird. We can remove this. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat again. And I'm going to stamp the bird with a Misty Moonlight as well. Okay. And I'm going to color in the bird with some my Balmy Blue Stampin' Blend. And I'm just going to be doing simple coloring. I'm not going to do any blending or anything fancy. I'm just simple coloring. That's it. That's the sum total of it. All right, now what we can do is bring in some of the flowers. And here I'm going to bring in this flower. And we're also going to use that flower. Okay, but we're going to do different colors. So I'm going to start with some Daffodil Delight. No, Polished Pink. We will do, let's do one here. I'll do a partial one there. And a third one here. Okay, and that's it for Polished Pink. Let's move on to, let's do Daffodil Delight. And for Daffodil Delight, I am going to use the small flower. Again, I'm going to bring in my Stampin' blend and just color in the center of the flower. Okay, and we're done with Daffodil Delight. And then for the last piece, I'm going to do a butterfly in, oh, no, that's not the butterfly. I'm gonna get the right one. This is the butterfly. And I want to do that in Balmy Blue. I'll put one there. And I'll just put one here. And that's it. It's already looking really colorful, isn't it? But not overwhelmingly so. When things get like, you know, too much, then you're like, oh my God, there's too many colors going on there. I mean, I love color, don't get me wrong, but when there's too much, it's like my eyes cannot even begin to process it. All right, so what we can do then is stamp the, let's do the happy birthday. Let me bring back my Balmy Blue. Balmy Blue is such a calming color, and I'm going to just stamp it. We're not using sentiment labels, we're just stamping right on the cardstock. And there we have it. So that's a little bit more stepped up because we did the different, you know, the different coloring. Okay. And we'll adhere it to the inside of the, I mean, to, not to the inside, to the outside rather. Give it a little back rub. And there we have it. Now for the inside, I'll just show you what I did for this one on the inside. I took those same flower stamp sets and then stamped them in different colors along with the little butterfly just to tie in the front. So again, like I said, don't be afraid to stamp the inside of your card. Now I've left it blank because I can just write whatever I want to say. And that particular stamp set doesn't really, if you see it, it doesn't really have any, you know, additional sentiments that go along with happy birthday. So I'd have to pull one from something else. Or just, I could just write in it and write my own sentiment and not even worry about stamping something else inside it. So this is our stepped up version. But again, not a difficult card. You're just changing out some of the ink colors and just stamping directly onto the cardstock. So I hope you like that one. Now for the last one is definitely stepped up. And this one is embossed. If you can see it with gold embossing powder. The little flowers were gold embossed onto vellum. And then I have in the background, I cut out some branches from the Birds and Branches dies. There was a stamp set in dies, and I still have the dies, but I don't have the stamp set, so I just used the dies. So, and then for the label, I used the postage stamp punch, and then I have the fine art. Let me see, what's it called? Fine art ribbon, because it has a gold tone to it. All right, so let me show you the steps to make that one. And let's see, here's all the pieces. So the card base is made with mint macaron, cut at 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Well, you know what, I didn't score it, but that's okay. I'm just going to fold it in half and then burnish it. It's the same thing. So here we have it. And I have just a piece of vellum to, this is what you'll need to cut out the little embossed flower pieces. These are the, I've already die cut the branches from the birds and excuse me, the birds and branches die set onto some mint macaron. And I actually did die cut already the little flowers. I embossed them and die cut them. I mean, I didn't die cut them. You have to fussy cut them because there's no dies that come with these stamp set. So if you're not a fan of fussy cutting, you're not going to be a fan of this technique. And I have to say, I don't mind fussy cutting, but these were, you know, because I was using several of them, it got tiresome because they're small. But I still like the way that it, you know, I still like the way it came out. And I thought, in the end, I thought it was kind of worth it. So we can, let's see, we can get started on it. And we'll do a little embossing. Okay, let's see. Okay. Yeah, my 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of basic white. And again, we're going to use that swirl die. I mean, not die, but the stamp, swirl stamp. And what we're going to do, you can, as you can see in the example, I did it in several places. So we're going to move it around. And what you're going to also need is your embossing kit. You know, all the stuff wherever you keep your embossing stuff. Okay, and then if you have an embossing buddy, one of these, Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell them anymore. But if you have a used dryer sheet, you can do the same thing just to demagnetize the surface. Oops. And that way the embossing powder won't stick to where you don't want it. And you'll need some gold embossing powder, and that's sold by Stampin' Up! As part of the Metallics collection, which are 3 metallic colors: gold, silver, and copper. Okay, now I'm going to, let's see, where do I want to put this? I'm going to put it in this direction, and I'm going to have it half hanging off the paper. Okay, and I'm going to use my Versamark. And the Versamark works with the embossing powder because this is a sticky ink. So the embossing powder sticks to it. And then when you heat it with the heat tool, it melts. And it gives you a raised surface that has a nice sheen to it. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to clean this. I'm going to use it again, but I just want to clean it. All right, so then I think I want to put it, I'm going to put the magnet there. And then I want to put the magnet here. And let's see, let me push this up. I'm trying to decide what would be the best way to put this. And then I think I'll do it in this direction. Basically, you can put it in whatever direction you want. See, there's some leftover ink. That's what I was trying to clean it. But this will place itself exactly where that was, so it'll be fine. Okay, and I want to give it like one more like swoosh up here. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna just clean it. I'll give it a good thorough clean when I finish the video, because I think it's got a lot of sticky stuff on it, and I think it needs to be really cleaned. Okay, we'll take these off, the magnets off. Move this out of the way. Now I use a coffee filter to catch the embossing powder so it doesn't end up all over the place, and then it makes it for easy work to put the excess back in the little container. Now, I have just a little craft brush that takes off some of this stuff. Now, even though I rub the paper with the embossing buddy, some of it is still sticking. I'm really surprised. But that's the way it is sometimes in crafting. It doesn't always go according to your plan. Right? I mean, that's what I find. Oh, you know, I'm going to move this out of the way. So yeah, I just got this craft brush, this little, you know, cheap paintbrush at the dollar store, like in a pack. I'm afraid it's not going to be perfect because I don't think I'm going to be able to get every little bit off of it. I'll do the best I can. All right. Now let me just turn on the heat tool. It will be a little bit loud. I'm sorry. Yep, the magic is starting to happen. Can you see it? It starts to melt and turns real shiny. Okay. I think I got it all. And there you have a shiny card already. Okay, now for the, let's see, for the next step, I want to add the little branches. And the way I'm going to add the branches, the way I'm going to adhere them is, oh, here it is, my little sponge. So if you have a silicone craft sheet, and you can put glue all over it and it just washes right off. And this is a good tip. Just squirt some liquid glue onto your silicone craft sheet. If you have one of these just like regular old sponges, I think you can get them at the dollar store, right? And cut them into little pieces and then attach one of those like a little teeny, the mini binder clips, so that you got a little handle. Now, before I attach this, let me just see, yeah, so, okay. And then all you want to do is dab some of the glue and then dab on the back of your, so whenever you have something that has like a lot of, you know, small pieces to it, and rather than squirting a dab of glue like here and there, just dab it with just a little sponge, and then you end up with, you know, coverage over the whole thing. So I'm going to place it about there. Okay, and now I want to do the same thing with this one. Okay, move that out of the way. Now I'm probably going to cut some of the bottom of it off. Yeah, so I'm going to make it go in that direction, and then I'll cut whatever's sticking out on the back, just cut that off. Okay, now I can use now I can adhere the little flowers. And I'm going to do that with some dimensionals. That's going to make things a whole lot easier. So I'll bring in the other card here. So I embossed and cut, let's see, I thought I had 3 little ones. No, I guess I only had 2. Okay. So I'm going to just take some of the mini dimensionals and put it on the back. And just put one right there. I'm going to take a little one. And for the last large one, I'm going to put it, I'll put it over here. And let's see which side's the gold side. Oh yeah. And so for this last little one, I'll just put it up here. Okay. And then where's my ribbon? Here it is, right here. Okay. And I'm going to measure out 9.5 inches on the ribbon. Let's see. Get my ribbon scissors, because you never use your paper scissors on your ribbon, or should say the other way around. You never use your ribbon scissors to cut paper, because you'll find that you'll end up with a very dull ribbon scissors. Oh, you know, let me cut this little frayed end off. That's the thing about this fine art ribbon. It frays very easily, so you know, it's very pretty, but it does fray. So I need 9.5 inches. So we'll cut it right there. 9.5. And all I'm going to do is fold it back and forth. All right, so what I want to do is just, and I want to use, this is going to be the label, but I want to just measure it, see how it's going to look across. Okay, that'll be all right. And then I'm going to fold it back on itself. Now, I'm going to put it underneath the label. And of course, what did I do with my here? Okay, here it is. I'm going to tack it down with just a little bit of tear and tape, and that'll hold it in place while I put the sentiment label down. And then the sentiment label is going to cover it anyway. Okay. Now, you can peel it off or not peel it off. It's going to be popped up on dimensional, so it won't matter, but I'm going to go ahead and peel it off. Okay. And I want to put For You on, let's see, For You. Let's see where it is in here. For You. Here it is. Can hardly see it. Oops. And I'm just, let's see, I'm going to do it with some Misty Moonlight ink, because I happen to have it right here. Now for my other sentiment, I did cut an extra flower, and you can do that, but I don't, you know, I forgot to cut an extra one. But if you wanted to, oh, actually, you know what? I did cut an extra one. I just found it. And I'm just going to actually glue it. Put a little dab of glue. That on there, and I am going to add some gem dots before we're finished with this. So for now, I'm going to just get some regular dimensionals and pop up the sentiment label with just some three dimensionals ought to do it. And gem dots that I'm using are the Champagne Rhinestone Basic Jewels, but you can also use, if you want to, polished dots. These are really pretty. This one is a new and unopened pack, and I actually didn't want to open the pack. So I'm using my Champagne Rhinestones for the flower centers. And we're almost done. Stick with me if you're still here. Thank you. I promise we're almost done. This is the last of it. And one more. And you could, put a couple there as well if you wanted to. So this is a good one for you avid crafters out there because it has a lot of steps to it, and it's a more challenging card. And for the inside of, whoops, let me just tack that down on either end. For the inside of my card, I stamped that swirl for just, some visual interest. So those are the 3 cards. I hope you liked them. Let me bring them back in. These are your stepped up cards. Your simple stamping card aimed at beginners, but certainly can be for anyone. Then you're a little bit more stepped up using a lot of color. And then for you avid crafters, something that is a bit more challenging. So I want to thank you for watching, and tune in tomorrow for day 5, which will be actually the last day in the series of retired products. But it's not the last time I will be using retired products in my videos. But thank you very much for watching, and if you subscribe to my channel, I want to say thank you very much. I so appreciate it. If you do not subscribe, could I ask you to please click the subscribe button, because it really does help me and my small business more than I could say. I really appreciate you watching, and bye for now.